Hey everyone, good morning. Well, it's morning right now, but by the time you see this, it may not be morning. But anyways, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am wanting to share some things with you I just had on my mind about my plants. Sorry, I have my morning voice still. And I'm kind of trying to whisper because my mommy is sleeping still and I don't want to wake her up. But, and I might take this outside soon, but I was just sitting here and thinking of these plants, and you know, I'll show you them soon and I'll give you an update, but they're just really thriving and doing their own thing. And I mean, I'm giving them water and some sun and air, and they're in soil, so that's great, but I'm not doing anything spectacular, right? They're just, you know, they're just being. And so that got me to thinking about the art of being, just being. I think as humans, we really try to strive for that in different ways, not kind of knowing what that looks like or how to do that. But just kind of sitting here watching these plants, I mean, nature in general, you know, just how beautiful things are without any effort, right? You know, just knowing that God created these things in a very specific way to reflect Him, you know, so that we could look back at God and say, wow, you're amazing. How could you create all these things? Like, it's amazing to me. But just the art of being. And I wanted to talk about what that looks like, what I think that looks like, what I've observed from these plants, and what I'm trying to myself practice too. So yeah, I wanna share those things with you. But so let's get started. So here are the peppers, the seedlings, and the tomatoes. They're all doing really well. This is the last pepper seed that was to come up. That one's doing well, that one's doing well, this is doing well. Yeah, they're all doing relatively well. Pure lettuce, look how beautiful that looks. Like, it's almost pretty much ready to harvest for the most part, but I almost kind of don't want to do it because it's so pretty. But the way you would harvest lettuce or allow it to continue to grow is that you could cut or pinch off the lettuce. Here, let me show a better angle. Pinch off the lettuce from the outside and just take the lettuce around here. And so if you can see inside, there's still lettuce that's growing. So if I want, I could leave like a few leaves of lettuce to continue to grow, but I can still just harvest from around the outside, the perimeter of the lettuce here. But it's so pretty. I almost don't want to pick it. This is the lettuce that I was trying to grow inside, and it was kind of funky for a while, but it's coming, it's getting stronger. You can see it's starting to thicken out a little bit more, or maybe, I don't know if I showed you guys before, but I had to there's so many dead pieces that fell off because the shock of the outside weather was too much for it. So some of the leaves of lettuce kind of just fell away, but they're starting to grow back pretty nicely now. It's starting to fill in a little bit, but again, I'll wait to harvest it until it's a little bit bigger. And then this is the kale that was inside for a while, and it actually did really well. It had no problems being outside. And then this is the kale that was always outside, and it's been thriving. Okay, so I've been trying to record on and off for a bit now. I'm outside and I wanted to get some fresh air and a little bit more even light because it's still a little dark in the house. But these birds have been so loud. We have a bunch of these blackbirds flying around. And then there's some other birds too, but they're so loud. I don't know, it was getting kind of creepy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, but I was like, I don't know, it was kind of creepy like that, but I'm good now, I'm safe. Anyways, back to what I was talking about in terms of the art of being. I think as humans, we do strive to find this way of life where it's almost effortless and it almost seems unreachable. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I think because it is a little bit easier than we think it is, it might be something that we feel is so far off. Like sometimes when things are too easy, it's almost like you're skeptical of it, and then you try to do all these other things to get to that particular goal, when it's really just as simple as doing X, Y, and Z. It's so much easier said than done. So that's kind of how I think about in this concept of the art of being. There's some things I have here in my notes, just it makes sense, but it's like hard to do. So yeah, let me share those. Okay, so this is like my 100th time trying to film this one little part here, but yeah, outside wasn't an option. The birds were having a field day and doing the most. So, but yeah, I wanted to talk more in depth about the art of being, but before we get into some of these different concepts that I have here, I guess I want to read to you. I'll try to find a definition and like put it up and insert it right here. So the first concept in the art of being is this concept of being balanced, right? Or in being grounded and rooted. So having an anchor, having something to hold you down, what that looks like for me personally is my walk with God, with my faith in Jesus. And so for me, like that's what keeps me solid and grounded. I always have something to refer to that's never changing, everlasting, consistent. And so I think what it is, the goal is for us in the fundamental or the foundational part of us being able to be is having something to be rooted into, right? Something consistent to hold on to. Like the plants have the soil, you know, they are just kind of like solidified in that, and they, you know, that's never changing. I mean, but they're rooted. They have something to stay connected to, and so I think that's one of the first parts of our ability to function in this world in terms of just being and having that more effortless kind of move in our life and just function is to be grounded. So find something that you can be grounded in. So the other concept I have written down here is just this concept of taking your time. The plants, they grow when they need to. You know, they come up out of the soil when it's time, when it's ready, and they all didn't come up at the same time. As you saw, like I have a really big one, and I have some medium-sized ones, and I have a couple very tiny ones, and they're still, you know, growing and developing, but they're going at their own pace. They're not rushing to, you know, to be in a position where they're not ready to be in. Because then they wouldn't survive. Like if this tiny little guy was trying to force himself to produce a tomato at this particular stage, this little guy would just be crushed. Because we're having those big beef steaky tomatoes, those big ones, that thing would be crushed. And he also just doesn't have the physical anatomy to produce that thing, you know. So I don't want to get all biology on you because I'm not actually good at biology or science at all. And I've said this in other videos and in posts on my Instagram, but it's just really important for us to really be patient in the stages that we're in. And I, speaking to myself, because I know that for me, there'd be seasons where I'd be like, I want to be somewhere else. I don't want to be doing this right now, you know? And it just causes so much more anxiety and frustration and sadness. There's a depression that can come on you when you're trying to force yourself to be in a place that you're not ready to be in. And it's just understanding and embracing the stage that you're in, you know. So take your time, don't force it, don't rush it. But in that same breath, you know, in terms of taking your time, there are going to be seasons of growth. You know, there are going to be seasons where it just seems like you're just sprouting up. I remember with this guy here, this particular plant, this lovely guy, he just, I don't know, like he just kind of, boom, sprouted up so quickly. My sound effects. So there are seasons where you do just kind of take off and you grow, and it's just things are happening so quickly, and you get excited and you're like, wow, this is happening, that's happening, and it's all good stuff. But it's not because, you know, you did anything. It's just the season and the time for you to grow at that speed, you know, to have these things happen. It's not because you really did anything super special. I mean, of course, we do have to take responsibility in planning and preparing as best we can to do things. We have to study, you know, we have our homework, we have to, you know, be kind to other people if we want to hope to receive that kindness, right? Do unto others as you'd have them do to you, kind of thing, right? So, I mean, there are things we have to do, but at the same time, you know, in its fullness, there's not a lot that we're doing. It's just your season and your time to, you know, kind of bloom and have this season of growth. So also another aspect of the art of being and just to be is really embracing your purpose. You know, really staying in your lane, focusing on your goals, right? And not being in competition with other people. Life is not a competition. Life should not be in the keeping up with the Joneses, or the, you know, trying to have more than the other person, or, you know, it's very meaningless, and it takes a lot out of you that doesn't need to be taken out of you, you know. One of the, I think, more challenging aspects of this art of being, it's like, well, what is my purpose? Who am I, right? And I think that that's, you know, another discussion, but I think it's really formulating in, like, what's heavy on your heart, what's in your heart that causes you a sadness or grief for others. You know, it's usually directed outward, so your purpose is usually geared towards other people. Like, maybe you have a heart for the homeless, maybe you have a heart for those who are being victimized in human trafficking, and it grieves you. And so maybe there's a part of you that, maybe part of your purpose is to find ways to support these different groups, right? So that's one part of a purpose, but also another part of your purpose is what brings you so much excitement and joy, right? What lights you up, what excites you, what gets you going. And maybe that is also, you know, maybe you love working with children, or you have a heart for gardening, and you want to see people being able to grow their own fruits and vegetables so that they're healthy and strong, you know. So you put a lot of energy and efforts into those categories. So, you know, take your time, kind of try to figure out parts of your purpose, because sometimes even if you find one aspect of your purpose, that might lead you to another. So you may not know your full purpose and goal, and that's fine, but like, maybe if you would just take that leap of faith and that step towards, oh, well, I know this one little part of what I you know, I feel like is my purpose, so I'm going to step in this particular area, and it might lead you to another, and to another, and to another. It's like a little branch, it's trees, right? You know, you have one part here, and it might lead you to another, so don't be afraid to kind of explore that. The last point I want to make is that in functioning and practicing the art of being, it has so many other benefits that are not just solely for you. When you practice this art of being, you get to, the benefits of that are peace, confidence, steadiness, clear-mindedness, right? Like, you are not, you know, confused and like overwhelmed. You are just at peace, right? And so that's a beautiful, wonderful benefit for you. But, and also you get to thrive in your purpose, and you get to find joy in just being you. There are also other benefits that are for other people. So what I mean is, for example, the tomato plant. The tomato plant isn't vying to be or wanting or trying to be a pepper. It just is a tomato plant. Everything that's inside, if it's nature, what it is, it calls for it to be a tomato, and it doesn't have to like stress itself to be a tomato. It just is, right? So that's its own personal benefit. But for me, I gain the nutrients and the health benefits of eating a tomato. Peppers have their own health benefits and vitamins and nutrients that I will get to enjoy as well. But if the tomato was trying to be a pepper, then I wouldn't get what I need from the tomato, is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, like, you also have unique and wonderful gifts and purpose inside of you that is unique to you for the benefit of me too. So not only will you get to walk in your purpose and have peace and joy and balance, but you'll also be able to provide me with what I need so I can function to my best ability, right? So, because sometimes when we think about these different self-analyzing or self-help type of things, it becomes about self, but really, you know, it's about others. Like, to know yourself is to help other people. Scripture says, you know, love your neighbor as yourself. Like, if you don't know yourself and can't care for yourself, you're not going to do a great job loving your neighbor, loving your family member, your friends, your coworkers. So it's just another level of awareness that we can have to know that when we are practicing this art of being, we're now helping other people as well. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment below if you know, you want to share some techniques that you practice in terms of just being, and or any other ideas that you have. If there's something that you want me to kind of discuss or talk about, let me know. And I also leave my email in the not the comment section, but the description part of this page. So check that out too. If you want to send me an email, you can. And yeah, I'm happy to continue on this journey of growing my plants and sharing what I'm learning from them or about them. So I hope you're enjoying as well. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. That really helps the algorithms and everything, so it lets people see that I'm doing this. And if you haven't subscribed, it'd be awesome if you can subscribe. That'd be great, and I would appreciate that. And but anyways, thank you so much for watching, and remember, you are purposed to love, and I will see you guys next time. All right, bye.